Hello, and welcome back to Overcoming Carbs. Coming to give you an update of where I've been or what I've been doing since the last update that I did. Um, Today is officially 5 months on carnivore, and it would be 154 days and 22 weeks. I started this on April 24th, and today is officially the 5th month that I've done it. Uh, has it been easy? Has it been difficult? Has it been a breeze? Have I had temptations? Have I had cravings? Getting to this point in 5 months has been, I guess I don't want to say an achievement, but it's been a something that I'm proud of, that I could go 5 months without having any really big issues or anything like that. I haven't cheated. I haven't had a cheat day. I haven't had an off day. I'm not saying that as a braggadocious type of thing, but um, with me, if I were to have a cheat, I don't know where it would go. I don't know how far it would go, because the whole addiction to carbs and the whole addiction to sugar and everything, my body just doesn't have an off switch. So I just don't even want to do it. My wife and I had a conversation yesterday about, I told her, I said, man, a piece of cake, it sounds good, because you saw it on commercial, and it's just like that, you just, the whole taste bud thing comes back in your mouth. Um, you can just taste it even though you haven't had it in a while. And it's the whole addiction thing, because it's like you see it and then all of a sudden things just start popping off in your head, the dopamine release of wanting the reward. And um, it starts driving that whole um, feeling inside of you. Now, was I hungry? No. Um, it's more like I've been training myself for years and years and years to eat this way. And now that I've done a flip on it, my body's like, hey, you remember this? Remember this feeling? And I can understand that if you had that feeling going on in you, that you just have, like your body just wants to say, hey, we need this because we've had it for so long. Well, I've had those moments, but I haven't given in to them. Um, I don't think it's a thing of like strength or anything. I think it's an item of being able to overcome it. Um, I mean, I'm a Christian, and Jesus was tempted. Does it mean he was weak because he was tempted? No. Does it mean that he was better than us because he was able to overcome that temptation? No, it's not that. It's that we all have the ability inside of us to overcome temptation. And the thing is we don't have to do it on our own. I mean, we can go to somebody who would actually help us get through it. And if those times ever come up in your mind, or if you ever feel like, hey, I'm just not able to do this, this temptation is just too strong and I've got to have this. Well, there is somebody who can help. He's always there at any time, at any call. And I don't know where you are. I don't know what your walk is or anything like that. I'm not trying to preach to you. But just know that you're not alone. Even if you're doing this in your house alone. I mean, I'm doing it with my wife, and we're not doing this, without anybody else, but we're doing it together. And a lot of you out there are not doing it together. You're on your own at your house. You're the only one eating this way. And it can be hard. It can be a struggle. But just know you can go to somebody at any time, day or night, whenever you're feeling like you just can't do it, you can't keep going, and he'll give you the strength to do it. I wanted to come in here, not only give you an update, yes, we all have moments. Yes, we all can have those times where we just feel like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I felt this, or oh my gosh, I can't believe that I actually thought about eating this. Well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for now until you basically decide you're not going to do this anymore and you're just going to eat that way. You're just going to eat the sugar and everything because we're human. I mean, as simple as that. I mean, we are going to have times where we're going to struggle, and there's nothing wrong with that. And so far in this journey, in this 5 months, I've seen many people out there talking about it. I've seen many people talking about this way of eating. I'm still watching videos of other people and still getting ideas and how to overcome some things. But I want to give you a little bit of information of me and my background because years ago, and I come from a long line of people in agriculture and people in farming. I have cousins that have had dairies. I've had my grandfather, he raised purebred Angus cattle. I can just remember I was like probably 5 to 7 years. He died when I was 7. So um, I remember going out with him in his truck out into the herd of cattle. And he would just walk up to him and they would just surround him and circle him because they knew who he was. And I was in awe of that. And I wanted to be that. I wanted to do that. So I decided that I was going to go into FFA in high school. I didn't do 4-H or anything like that, but I wanted to do FFA when I got into high school. So I decided that I was going to actually raise some cattle. And let's see, I want to put this up there where it'd be easier for you guys to see, I think. Let's see, what would be down? That would be easier. Okay, this is my first calf I bought. I bought her from my uncle Bill. He lives in Godley, Texas, and this is the first calf I bought. She's just a beef master heifer. She's had multiple breeds in her, predominantly Brahma. But I didn't want to get a steer my first year because I wasn't really sure about it, but I wanted to get a female. So I got a heifer, and she was funny. She was cantankerous. She broke out of the pen that she was in. She had these other calves that were with her, but she broke out of the pen that she was in. And I get a call from my mom at school one day, and this was in 1984, so I was 14 years old, and get a call from my mom saying, the sheriff's department wants you to come out here because your calf got out and they had to rope her and tie her up. So when I got out of school, I had to go to the park because that's where she was, and she was tied to a tree. And I had to pick her up and walk her back to her pen and find out where she got out. And I found a place where she got out of and I had to repair that area. But I showed her for my first time. Didn't do very well. She really wasn't a show calf. She was more just a calf that I just wanted, but we had to show them in FFA. That was part of the whole project. So I showed her at the show, in the county show. And I basically, after the show and everything, I was like, well, I want to breed and have her bred and have a calf. So I put her on my grandmother's place. And my grandmother still had Angus cattle. And the guy you see here, his name is Lige. And he was the foreman or the person that took care of everything on the farm. He was there even when my grandfather was there. He was there for many years. And she had been there for so long trying to get bred that she got to where she knew him and would let him come around. But if I tried to go up to her, she wouldn't let me come up to her. So I stayed back, and Lige went over to help her give birth to the calf, the very first calf. And so he helped pull her out. And this is her cleaning up her calf. And the other one's checking them out, and she's still cleaning them up. But this is the baby, a little closer look at her. She had a female calf at the time. And this is them together. So I had, her name was Honey, and she had this calf. So I was able to sell both of them to my grandmother, and that's what closed out that year. She lived there for a few more years to come until I think she died. But then I had to get another project for the next year. So I bought a Brangus, a Brahma Angus steer from her for the next year. And this is Buck. I called him that because he used to kick up his feet and everything and stomp around and everything when I first got him. But we had, when you're going to show a calf, you got to halter break them and everything. So this is, getting him ready to go to the show. I showed him at Fort Worth, and this is when you put him on a show halter. We showed him at the project show for the FFA. That was what this was. Then this is part of that project show. And then we took him to Fort Worth. And at Fort Worth, I showed him there at the Fort Worth Stock Show. And these are just some of the images of the Fort Worth Stock Show. And we went back to the county show, and that's where I showed him there. We only placed third at the county show for the American Cross cattle. So I didn't get to put him in the sale. They only take the first two. But my dad and my uncles decided to purchase him, and he weighed 1,175 pounds whenever I showed him. And he dressed at 752 pounds whenever we took him to have him processed. And we got half of that. So we got, 375, 76 pounds of meat off of him, off of one half of him. But he was great. He was my first time to actually show a steer. My next steer I got was this Hereford Cross steer, and he was a Hereford Brahma mix. This is the Hereford that I got. I showed him only at the county show and the project show, and he placed first in his class in the project show, or in the project and the county show. So I was able to sell him at the county sale. I didn't have to eat this one, but the funny thing about him is he always fought with me. He always gave me a hard time. But whenever I would actually sold him, all the cattle went into a big pen after the sale, and I forgot to get his halter. And so when I ran out there, I had to go get his halter, and he came running up to me like, "Get me out of this place." All these other cattle. So he was an interesting one, to say the least. But I was able to sell him and make a pretty good profit off of him. But this is him at the FFA, our project show. I've probably had a soft spot for beef cattle and for raising animals like that. And it's kind of funny when you think about it, that these things are the things that, we're supposed to eat. And that's why I've always had a background with them. And coming back to that, had some people say, once you show meal prep, what you do, how you, eat and so forth, what you eat in a day or what you eat in a week. Well, I'm one meal a day. So it'd be rather boring video just to show you what I eat in a day. Because most of the time what we do is we prepare our food at the beginning of the week. I cook it all like on the weekend, and then we just reheat it throughout the week. We reheat steaks or whatever. hamburger patties, steaks, brisket. I'll cook it, some roast, things like that. But we'll prepare different things. So basically, I'm going to show you now. This is the chuck steaks that I purchased, and I had 7 of them. I believe it was 7, or I had 8. I had 8 chuck steaks, and then I would cook them on my Ninja grill, cook them on the high heat, and you do it for 10 minutes on the thinner steaks. And then what you're going to do is after that 10 minutes, you are going to take them off and take a look at these things when you get them off there after 10 minutes. The thinner they are, you don't want to cook them very long because they'll get really tough and really dried out. So you take them off after 10 minutes. You know, as they thicken up, then you want to do it for about 12 minutes if you get a little bit thicker. But like for your ribeyes and your New York strips, I cook them for about 15 minutes long. So we get these all cooked up and have those prepared. And the next thing I'm going to put on here is the New York strips that I bought for $4.99 a pound. I just salt them on both sides. The same thing I did with those chuck steaks. I throw them out over here on the grill. We got 7 of them at $4.99 a pound. And so I cooked the chuck steaks, and then I cooked the New York strips. And here we have the New York strips. I got 7 of them there. And then I had the chuck steaks there behind them. And so the New York strips were cooked for 15 minutes each, and the chucks were cooked for 10 minutes each. So cooking 3 steaks at a time, two chuck steaks at a time. I'm sitting here for like over an hour, more, almost 2 hours. So this is another thing I did on this one right here. I'm gonna pause it for a second. This is some brisket that I had cooked up, and I just chopped it up, and I'm gonna make a taco for my wife. She eats more than 1 meal a day, but I cooked up a couple of briskets throughout the last week. And so we had a little bit left over. So I was like, well, she was hungry one morning. So I said, I'm going to make you a taco. So take the leftover brisket, and we're going to put that on. I just melted some butter, like a half stick of butter, and heated up the meat. As you can see, I chopped it up a little bit with the spatula. I'm going to stir it up here a little bit, but adding the butter to it just so you get a little bit more of the fat to it because it's kind of dried out after being in. Use egg life wraps. They're dairy free and nut free, soy free, So I'm heating up some more butter. I'm going to take 6 eggs, scramble them up, whip them up in here, and then we're going to start cooking the eggs. So I'm going to have an egg life wrap, scrambled eggs, and the brisket. And I'm going to make her some little breakfast tacos for her in the morning. So these are pasture raised eggs that I got from Sam's, and just scrambling these up real quick, not real dry. I don't want them real dry. Heat up the tortillas or the wraps from the egg life wraps, and I flip it over on the other side. Then I'm going to put in the eggs and the brisket, and then we'll fold that over, and I'll make another taco for her. So after I fill this up with some meat, I'm going to close it. And we'll get another taco started here. But all in all, I did 6 eggs in the scramble, but we only used probably 2 to 3 of them in each one of the taco. Well, maybe 2 to 3 total, maybe 1.5 in each egg, or each wrap, I should say. So she had probably 3 eggs here and maybe about a 1/4 pound to 1/2 pound of meat within the 2 tacos. But that was her breakfast. So I made this for her. I didn't eat it. This was only for her because like I said, only eat 1 meal a day. I ate a chuck steak later that night. But the thing about doing it together is that I can sit here and make this for her and not be tempted to eat because I'm not hungry at the time. So doing this for her, I'm able to get some things for her. Now, this last thing is these are some shoulder roasts. These 3 are shoulder roasts that I got at Kroger for $3, and I think it was $3.97 a pound is what these were. So I got 3 shoulder roasts and cooked them up in the oven. Cooked them for 4.5 hours at 275 degrees. So we did 3 of these and salt on both sides and nothing else in it. I put a little butter in them just to make sure that, it had some liquid in it. And then I took 3 chuck roasts, and these are 3 of the chuck roasts at the same thing for $3.97 a pound. It came up to about 4 or 5, maybe 6 pounds of meat there, maybe 3 or 4 pounds here. A total weight. It's probably about 6 or 7 on the other, 3 or 4 on this one. But cook them up in the oven and are able to basically eat on that throughout the week. So what we do is I cook everything up like on Sunday, and then we eat on it throughout the week so that we have it available for us. With that being said, that's my meal prep. So what all is going on since I started this and in these 5 months? Where am I at? Well, the last time I think I was like 70 pounds lost on the last update that I gave. I was around 70 something. As of today, I am. Well, let me first tell you, my wife has lost today 16 pounds. She lost another pound, and that's great. I mean, she's not been able to lose weight, and now she's down 16 pounds. So she's slow, but she's good because she's still losing the weight. And she was really excited seeing that 16 pounds lost today when she weighed in. I since the last time I talked to you, I completed a 72-hour fast on September the 10th. This was part of Carnivore Quest request that they wanted everyone to join in on a fast because of what Cassie was going through. So I decided I was going to do a 48-hour fast, and I started Thursday. Didn't eat Thursday night, and went into Friday. And Friday came around, and I was like, you know what? I don't think I need to eat tonight. So I was like, I'm going to go for 72 hours. So I went to the next day, and all this time I was just drinking salt water and an element, like one on Friday and Saturday in the morning to kind of help me get through. I also wanted to do it because I was kind of in a stall. I'd lost 75 pounds, but then I had lost 69 pounds, and then in 3 weeks only lost 5 pounds. And I was like, this is kind of crazy. Yeah, a lot of 1 pound a week. Yeah, that's great and all that. But I was like, I was going from 75, and then right before I did the fast, I gained 5 pounds in one day. And I was, it's like, it does things to you when you like gain weight in one day. So I said, you know what? I've heard of different ways of breaking a stall. They say to exercise. Well, this body, where I'm at, it's kind of hard to do. The heat in Texas is another reason why it's like, I'm not getting out there in the heat and doing this. They say get more rest, and well, your body's only going to get so much rest. When you get up to 53 years old and you're doing this carnivore diet, your body just wakes up. I don't even use an alarm clock anymore. Hardly. I mean, yeah, I do occasionally, but I usually wake up before the alarm goes off. And so it's like getting more rest. It's like, and they say relieve stress. Well, stress is not something that just comes easily to relieve. So I'm with the job and everything and health and all that. It's like you got so much stuff going on. That wasn't an option. Well, one of the last things they said was to do a fast. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to see what a fast will do for me. Well, when I started it, I was weighing 375. I had lost a total of 82 pounds. So I was down through 358 pounds. So I went from 370 down to 358. And basically, after I ate that evening, I got back up the next morning. I was 360 pounds. So I said, you know what? I'm going to say that I am now at 80 pounds lost. So when I did it, I was 80 pounds lost at that point, and I kept that off, and I stayed there for a little while. But then, as of today, I have lost 86 pounds. So I am at 354 pounds, and had a conversation with my son, my youngest son, and when we were talking about doing the fast and everything, and he's like, well, you sure can tell, Dad, that you've lost weight looking at your face. And I started thinking about it, and I don't think my son has ever seen me at this weight, and he's 19 years old. So I don't think I've been 354 pounds, or at that point it was 360 pounds, but I don't think I've ever been 360 pounds since he's been alive. And today I'm 354 pounds. And it's amazing. And this last Saturday, I went and I had to do some work on my car because I had an oxygen sensor that went out on my car, so I had to replace it. And I go over my dad's. My dad's 81 years old, and I went over my dad's, and I asked my mom. I said, "Did you tell Dad that I've lost 80 pounds?" And he was like, "She said, yeah, I told him," and he was like, "Yeah, and I can see it." And to have your dad tell you that he can see that you lost weight is like winning the lottery, because I want to get to a point where I used to be, and I want them to be proud of me. And I want my kids to be proud of me. I want them to see that I'm working towards this, that I'm trying to make a difference. And I want to be an example to them. You know, my youngest, he's a T1D. He's type 1 diabetic. And he goes through a lot. He goes through so much. And he's only 4 years into it. And he'll have his 5th-year anniversary in January. But he gets frustrated about how much insulin he's taking to compensate, or what kind of reaction he's going to have, or if he took enough. So he tries to not, put a burden on his body or himself, because recovering from a high or anything like that is just hard on him. But seeing his strength, I'm doing this because I want to be there for him, and I want to be there for my other son. I want to be there for my wife. So if you're looking for a why, if you don't do it for your own health, do it for the others around you, because other people are relying on you. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. And this is not medical advice, but I can tell you from experience that this is the best thing I've ever done. This is the best decision I could have made. And I urge you to examine where you're at and review the video out there. Review the people that have done this. I've lost 86 pounds now. And, being 354 pounds and losing 86 pounds is amazing. And you just don't know how you feel until you've done it. It's not worth it eating all that other stuff. If you're like me and your body fights it, if your body just doesn't know how to stop, if your body just craves and wants more as you eat and everything, then think about it. Why are you doing it? Why are you having to get this fixed? Why are you having to um, satisfy this urge, to eat. I've tried the other diets. They don't get rid of the urge because you're still doing carbs. So if you're addicted to carbs, if you just don't know how to stop, if you've ever felt that where you're eating and you just don't know why you just won't stop eating or what's enough, try it. Try this diet and try this way of eating. Try for 30 days, for 60 days, but don't do it for a week or two and then just give up because you're not going to notice any kind of change. I mean, to start a new habit, I won't say a bad habit, but a new habit, you have to do it for at least 30 days. It was rough in the very beginning. It was so tough. If I can do it, then I know you have the ability inside of you to do it. And like I said before, you have somebody that you can call on. You have somebody that you can lean on. If you need somebody, leave me a comment because it's awesome. And I wish I would have done this a whole lot sooner. That you want it to just to magically come off, but it doesn't. But it eventually does. And someday, I'm going to be able to just look down and not have this gut right down here blocking my feet. I'm waiting for that day because I have hope that I'm going to do it. And I have a belief that I'm going to do it. And I want you to have that. I just know that I feel so much better now than I ever have. So you can do it too. Thank you for watching. And I hope here in a little while I'll have an even better update. 14 pounds away from losing 100 pounds and 55 pounds away at 200 in the 200s. I thank you and have a blessed day and good night.